Am I the only person who thinks the political debate today about coronavirus, vaccination, lockdowns, Freedom Day, border closures, the only constant to me seems to be daily contradiction? For example, we now learn of a positive case of a truck driver in Queensland who's not vaccinated. He's been in the community for 8 days. Like most of our political leaders now on this lockdown issue, Premier Palaszczuk is sensitive to public anger. So Dr. Jeanette Young says no lockdown. Repeating, a truck driver not vaccinated in the Queensland community for 8 days, no lockdown. Jump over the border into Berejiklian and Barilaro country and you come to the Tweed. One case that's not spread to anyone, anywhere in the community, lockdown. As one of my viewers texted me today and said the messaging is as inconsistent as a drunk person talking. I'll make further comment later on about this so-called Freedom Day. I warned this would happen. If what they're calling Freedom Day is the day after we hit 80% double vaxxed, but we'll still face a string of restrictions that you couldn't jump over, then there are 2 points. The first is obvious. Words have lost their meaning. Freedom is not freedom at all. Which brings us, does it not, to the eye-watering news polls of yesterday. The Morrison government would stand to lose between 6 to 10 seats if the trends, and this was a quarterly analysis, so it's over a fair slab of time, of Newspoll surveys between July and September. Now, no coalition can win government, we can keep this simple, without 40% of the primary vote. Yet this quarterly average has them at 38%, but in Victoria the figure's 35%, where Labor is leading the coalition 58 to 42. In New South Wales, the coalition's at 39%, but Labor lead 52 to 48. This is federally. In WA, the coalition's at a miserable 37%, but at the 2019 election, the coalition had 55.5% of the primary vote. That's in WA. Not 37%, as it's got now, and Labor lead in WA 54 to 46. This is a 9% swing against the Morrison government. Now, in Queensland, the coalition enjoys a 55 to 45 lead, but that is still a swing against the coalition. They were 58% in 2019, primary, 55 now, and this is the problem, Queensland has the highest vote for the minor parties, a combined 25%. Even in South Australia, Labor lead 53 to 47. Then, in these polls, there's been a demographic shift away from the coalition. Middle-income earners and those without a post-high school qualification have gone somewhere else. In other words, the blue-collar workers who helped deliver the Morrison government in 2019 have left. Even those who benefited from income tax cuts in May have left the coalition. Support from women has fallen. Support from male voters has fallen. Support for the Prime Minister's performance has fallen 9 points since the last survey. Now, does no one understand in the coalition that for 20 months, these political elites have lectured us, they've taken our freedoms, they've stripped people of their dignity, they've created fear, they've damaged the mental health of Australians. Mums are worried that children have missed months of face-to-face learning. Families still have no idea where the next dollar will come from. Businesses in their thousands and thousands have gone under. And in the shadow of coronavirus, suicide continues and families are separated due to state borders controlled by power-hungry premiers. And now the betrayal continues. Freedom Day is no such thing. On the 22nd of March this year, I warned of all of this. In my words, quote, the coalition will be punished if they persist with this nonsense. I not only outlined back in March the stack of seats at risk in a federal election, but I then cited a thorough study published at the time, which found back in March that the coalition had lost more than 2 million primary votes in the 19 federal and state elections held since Tony Abbott returned the Conservative parties to power in 2013. 2,105,000 to be precise, gone. Remember that Tony Abbott, the man of ideas and vision, the lifesaver, the firefighter, whom the Liberal Party don't want, won 25 seats from Labor in 2 elections. Unprecedented. Yet here are the polls yesterday, and the Liberal Party in massive trouble everywhere. Why? Well, the voter is looking for national leadership. It doesn't exist. The polls are telling us that the public understand, and if the Morrison government doesn't understand and will do nothing about all of these things that I've mentioned, it cannot expect to remain in government no matter how bad the other side is. So, Does government stay silent on protests about Black Lives Matter and Extinction Rebellion? Do we do nothing about what passes for the education of our children in this country, which is no more than indoctrination? Do we continue to demonise coal-fired power when it's been the source of our recent wealth? And now, do we stand by poker-faced and allow ourselves to be deceived with a so-called Freedom Day? I make this point. Any government that ignores what is worrying its people must expect that its people, when they get the chance, will ignore that government. Your thoughts, email me, alan@skynews.com.au, or the text line 0414 000 848.